Hello everyone, my name is Joseph. Good morning, evening, or night, wherever and whenever you're watching. This is my presentation about classes and ID selectors. In this presentation, we're going to review where is each one of these selectors, when do I need to use it, and how do I use them in HTML and CSS. So let's start. First of all, I would like to explain you what are these selectors. As you know, on HTML document we have these tags like h1, h2, paragraph, body, head, title, and its main function of these tags is pull apart and discriminate the code that this document contains. These two selectors, class and ID, are attributes you can add to the basic content of your HTML document to distinguish one part of the document, whole document, or one specific element, and select them of the rest of the code to apply any specific characteristic to that you have selected and you want to style. I will show you a practical example later. Both selectors has almost the same function, but with a significant difference, and I will try to explain with a particular way what is an ID and what is a class selectors for a better understanding. You can think that ID selectors are like a citizen ID or social security ID or identification ID, which are unique and unrepeatable numbers, and only one individual has, and nobody else has the same number. Otherwise, this will be confusing. So, that is a ID selector, a unique and unrepeatable attribute for an element. You cannot use the same ID through the document. As we will see in the practical sample, using twice the same ID is signed like an error. On the other hand, you can think that the class selectors are like a zip code or a phone area code, which are not necessarily unique. And actually, you can share the same zip code that too many people. So there you have. You have an unique citizen ID that no one else has. This was made for identify you as an individual, and you have also a zip code which was made for identify you in a geographic way, and you share this zip code with all your neighbors. So we can summarize that an ID is a unique selector that only can use one element, and no other element can use the same ID. And a class is a selector that you can use in many elements, and many elements can share the same class. Let's watch the example. I have here a common and simple HTML document that contain two headings and three different paragraphs. Actually, this is how my document looks in a browser. You can see that I write an ID and classes for the elements. Here I have the name of my ID for this element. This is the name, and no other element can use it. Otherwise, I have here this class name for the paragraph, and actually is showing with the three paragraphs. And like you can see, I have a class in the same element that an ID. This is possible, and this is because I want to add some style to apply for both elements, and in the same time I want to add style that apply to one specific element. So this both element and are sharing this class, and each one of them has an unique ID coding in CSS, we must remark what kind is our selectors. If our selector is an ID selector, we must write the hashtag plus the ID name for our selector. If it's a class selector, we must write a period plus the class name of our selector. Here I have my CSS page for my document, and I put here my ID element, like I said, a hashtag with the name of my first ID name, and for the second the same hashtag and his name. And if I put the cursor here, brackets told me and remarks what part of the code I'm affecting. All the style I have for this ID will affect, and you can see in this part. In the same way, if I put here, the mouse told me you are affecting this part of the code. And if I put here in the class that both elements are sharing, told me you are affecting, and all the style that in this class you write will affect these both elements of the code. So if I put here the style for my first element with this ID, this will apply just this part of the code. Now I will apply for this class these attributes, and like as is the class that these two elements are sharing, is applying to both elements, like you can see. And now I will apply a background for the content. Look at these brackets remark. You will affect all this part of your coding. If I put this apply for all elements that has this class, which are 3. So this is how the ID and class works in CSS. So in conclusion, if you want to style many elements of the same document, you must use a class selector for simplify your code. So you can use the same class in all that elements you want to style with the same attributes. And if you want to be specific, you can use the ID. Even you have a class in the same element, you can add the ID, which is a unique and a repeatable selector. This was my presentation. I hope you enjoy it and understand, and thanks for watching.